wonderful, beautiful Tuesday. I'm here in the South Bay at a very special location. I'm actually here at the Unplugged headquarters, and they have a quite large facility, but I'm in their Bay Area working on some stuff. You can see the Bisimoto jet, as I call it, the Bisimoto Ply, they're getting ready for SEMA next week, is here. They also have a very nice track-based vehicle as well for SEMA. And for those of you on YouTube, you may see even closer this police car here. That's like a really cool Tesla police car you may see right there, which is pretty awesome, right? Rollins Kitchen from San Diego. Thank you so much for joining this Tech Tuesday. I appreciate you indeed. Ciao Italia, Davide all the way from Italy. Appreciate you. Let's see, Cordiero, how do you say it? Cordiero Gabriel, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining. Indeed. Good seeing each and every one of you. And for those of you on YouTube, thank you so much for joining this live opportunity as well. And for those of you also listening on the podcasting networks, whether it's Google Podcasts, Podbean, Anchor, Spotify, you name it, we are all here as one big happy family. Good afternoon, HD408. Thank you for joining me. Maxim from the Czech Republic. Greetings indeed. Thank you so much for joining this Bisimoto Tech Tuesday. And we are on board here with my beautiful partnership with the guys from Unplugged, getting ready for SEMA next week. So as being part of the industry, and if you're going to SEMA show in Vegas, you're pleased to know that we'll be there with quite a few cars in tote. And one in particular is our drag plaid, which is going to just be a showstopper. And it's a great combination of efforts between ourselves at Bisimoto and also our friends at Unplugged in terms of bringing some more Tesla and other EV technology to the masses and to motorsports. Dapper Dabber 710 says, hope your day is going great. It is fantastic. Drove down here all the way from Ontario. We are in Hawthorne, California, in the same vicinity as SpaceX. So it's a very big, happy Tesla family on this campus. And we're here making some great things happen indeed. So thank you so much for joining and for the kind words. Here from the Tesla lunchroom says Lab Steer Rojas. Thank you so much for being so near but so far. Appreciate you indeed. So all is well, Namaritandis. Thank you so much for joining. And one thing that I have noticed is the same rubbish that I used to see quite a bit in the sport compact world when I was doing a lot of drag racing with Hondas, of the sport compact guys versus domestics. I'm starting to see a lot of things in terms of EVs versus petrol guys, and which is quite unfortunate because we can do a lot of great things having one big happy family in terms of motorsports and going faster. But every time I take that thing out to Irwindale, I always get a lot of people like attacking and saying, thanks for bringing a toaster out and so on and so forth. What are you going to do to this little blender and so on and so forth? Fast blender indeed, because a lot of them pull out of line, right, when they go to the staging lane. So that being said, yeah, it's something where I feel that we all can appreciate different types of motorsports and propulsion and have a great time doing it as well. And that's what I love about the guys here at Unplugged. They have the same ethos as me, where motorsports is evolving. We're not killing anything when it comes to petrol. We're just evolving and create opportunities for fast, fun times on and off the track, You have done it well, says one Vintage O2. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. The best is yet to come. Ted E. Ripken from Instagram is saying, hope all is well. Looking forward to SEMA next week. Where will your work be displayed this year? Well, Ted, I'll have vehicles in quite a few sections, okay? One, at the Hastings booth, I will have a petrol car, yes, a C6 Corvette turbocharged in the Hastings booth in Central Hall. Hastings is a manufacturer that is a leader in piston ring technology, so they'll be there. So you feel free to see that indeed. Hello, Mig R from YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. YouTube seems to work better. I look forward to that. I love your passion for machines, says 427 Kevin. Thank you so much for sharing that indeed on YouTube. And for those of you who haven't joined me on the Bisimoto YouTube page, please, after this, go and subscribe. And by all means, I put really cool stuff up there and a lot more to come from the Bisimoto stable. And okay, so back to SEMA, what I have. Hastings booth for the petrol Corvette. Big power, big turbo with garage, just amazing stuff. Then, as you go towards that SEMA Central, which is that very prestigious location that exists between the Central Hall and the North Hall, that place where they have platforms and people do a lot of interviews, and sometimes they have those team competitions with engine building. The Moby be right there with some slight modifications. And that is just going to be a very nice place for you to see what mods I've done to the Mobi X at SEMA. Last year it was at the Tread Pass. This year is going to be SEMA Central. Then as you make your way into Central Hall towards a section known as Future Tech, you will see the Bisimoto Jet or the Bisimoto Plaid in conjunction with our good friends from Unplugged. We're going to display there. And a 57 Volkswagen bus that we converted. That's a terrifying vehicle to drive, by the way. So yeah, that's what we have going on next week in Vegas. You'll see me running around between the Total Tread Pass, SEMA Central, and a lot of time spent in the Future Tech booth. But by all means, follow me on Instagram. You'll see my stories, and I'll give lots of heads up to where I'd be, you know? Mr. Consistent in the house says, Gasket Heads, love your passion. Thank you. I love all things motorsports. And if you guys remember, the reason why I do this, the reason why I do this Bisimoto Tech Tuesday is to be that person I needed when I was younger. Because when I came to the United States and I wanted to explore motorsports, people wouldn't help me. Every shop I went to, every place I went to get knowledge, people would shun me away and tell me, drop off my CRX, pay us, and we'll do the work. But I want to understand how camshafts work. Valve train, why was that important? Why would a larger valve intake head make more power? What is compression doing in the motor? Why would I have to run carburetors when my fuel injection is just good enough for back in the day? Slicks, what are they for? Why are flat tires better than tires with a lot of air? Why are ball tires better than those with tread? Doesn't make sense, right, to just the average person, but I wanted to have that knowledge filled, and I didn't get it. So, one gentleman, John Consiati, bless his soul, took me under his wing, shared everything he could, and allowed me to really have a very strong hold on motorsports and continue to where I am today. And I'm trying to be that person for all of you. Everything I know, I'm sharing. Everything I learn, I will be more than happy to share. So we all can grow as a community and do better things. And what I know today, you may ask, BC, why are you sharing everything you know? Well, guess what? Next year, I will know even more. Technology evolves, technology advances, and things continue to come to light. I continue to experiment and do great things. And so I have no chagrin sharing everything I know, because next year I'll know even more and more and more and more and more. So it's pretty exciting. Jesse from YouTube says, I feel like the field guys, myself included, are just worried about the RPM Act and what this means for hobbyists that can't build a dedicated race program. At least my friends. And Jesse, you make a good point. The RPM Act, man, this is where they're making it more and more difficult for us to build any petrol cars, right? And some of the people take that a bit further, saying, oh, we're trying to be pushed into EVs, and that's not the case. But the thing is, there are millions of dollars at stake here for facilities like ours and individuals who make their life in hot rodding, and for hobbyists, where the EPA and the California CARB is really going out of their way to make life more and more difficult for us. But luckily for us, we have entities like SEMA that are helping us push the envelope to allow us to do modifications that are not detrimental to the environment, or better yet, allowing us to at least continue to build off-road vehicles that don't violate or criminalize us, violate any laws or criminalize us. And what they're trying to do is prevent us from taking any vehicle that came with emission equipment. Let's say a bone stock 1993 Honda Civic. You cannot take that vehicle, take the catalyst off, and build a race car out of it. Any race cars have to be purpose-built race cars, and that's just not right. In my opinion, and I've talked about this at length, I feel that people like us, you myself included, need to get involved with politics, because the people making decisions are not individuals who understand or care about our passion, don't understand the technology or even the science behind it. And what do I mean by that when I say these things? We can't lose sight of our goal, of our initial goal. And that initial goal is to have a clean environment for ourselves and for our children and for the future. And by the way, having these difficult RPM acts or putting us in a position where we are demonized for modifying our cars is not the answer. In my opinion, if I were in power, if I had the power to be in politics and make things happen, I would be okay with you doing any modifications you want. And we can even give you an opportunity to have a certification, charge for that certification, to have your car as a quote-unquote cleaner car, as long as the emissions coming out the tailpipe are equivalent or better than the year of manufacture. So if I have an 88 Civic, if I have a 1995 Acura Integra, and I modify it with a turbocharging system and E85, and my tailpipe emissions are cleaner than the original car, it should be legal. We shouldn't be demonized, we shouldn't be villainized by our need to make our cars our own and to even modify at all. It's ridiculous, it doesn't make sense whatsoever. Because you know what the alternative is? Here's what happens. You ban intake manifolds. You prevent us from modifying our cars at all. We will go to a state ref, we'll go to a smog station and we'll pass emissions. And then after the emission test is done, we'll rip everything off and put our crazy setup in there. Just gross polluting left and right without any kind of care in the world for what we spew into the atmosphere. Fast forward today again, I love EV opportunities because I always had that slight inherent guilt knowing what oxides of sulfur and oxides of nitrogen I was putting into the air with my petrol setups. But then very quickly I went to alcohol-based fuels, which are much cleaner, but my alcohol fuels were still not good enough. Still not good enough for the EPA, still not good enough for CARB. They're making things difficult, and that is very, very, very upsetting to me. Jesse says, and don't even get me started on the right way to repair. Absolutely, brother, I hear you, you know? Mick R says on YouTube that electric is a good addition for gearheads, and that is true. I say this a lot, guys. I was anti-EV for decades. As far back as the EV1, I didn't want anything to do with EVs at all. I said that EVs were for individuals who didn't care about performance. They were for people who wore hemp sandals. They were for tree huggers. The cars had no soul. Not that I've experienced a performance EV. I was just regurgitating what I heard from others until I built the pink 935 as a proof of concept, just to get my hands dirty or better yet, my feet wet into this EV culture that seems like a lot of OEMs are exploring. And I was blown away by the performance. And then it wasn't quiet. It had this crazy, guys, when you're bored after this show, go on my Bisimoto YouTube page, look at my driving of the K3V. It has a really cool supercharger sound, which is quite intoxicating. It's this, wah! It's so dope, right? And I have all the sound of electric motor emanating into the cockpit. It is cool and it's fast. My 600 horsepower K3V is faster than my 900 horsepower petrol 935. It will smoke it. And as an enthusiast first, you cannot shake a stick. You can't, guys, shake a stick at the performance of EV setups. And even that plaid right here, that thing is faster. You guys can see on YouTube. I'm trying to turn you guys around so you can see on YouTube right there. The plaid right there, I can't believe that this street car on street tires, zero emissions, is faster than my Insight for a majority of its life. And my Insight, God, I know I spent more on building that Insight than this car. My Insight was only a two-seater, or one-seater because I just had one seat. Barely got to line because of how huge the cams were. Would overheat because my radiators are really small and very lightweight, and just was not street legal at all. But this thing is 100% street legal, and as fast as you can shake a stick. It's just amazing, right? So that being said, there's so many opportunities here, and I love it. Matt Speed Custom says EVs will be around, but not environmentally makes sense. Water propulsion, watch out for Toyota. Water propulsion, that's interesting. And I keep hearing this stuff about EVs will be around, but not environmentally. Doesn't make environmental sense. I really disagree. And I'm going to use this forum, guys, to share with you my experience and my insights on what a lot of people who are detractors to EV propulsion, what they tend to focus on, which is, one, I've seen them talk about landfills, but there are many outfits today, successful, that can really recycle lithium-ion batteries. Secondly, cobalt. Cobalt is so challenging and it's so horrible impact to the environment. And that is an argument that people really shouldn't make. And I'll tell you why. For those of you who know me well, I am a chemical engineer in my background. In my final year at Cal State Long Beach studying chemical engineering, I had the opportunity to work at two refineries, Mobil and Arco, here in the city of El Segundo, not too far away. And my task was to design a plant to desulfurize crude oil. Crude oil in most of the world, except for certain regions of West Africa, tend to be known as what is known as sour crude, where there's a lot of sulfur that's contained in the crude oil. To make it viable so we don't create a lot of oxides of sulfur and ultimately acid rain, it's ideal to desulfurize the crude oil. And do you know what the number one element is that acts as a catalyst to desulfurize crude oil? Cobalt. Cobalt is, and we use lots of it. And much of the cobalt gets even consumed or destroyed in the process. So you won't believe how much cobalt is required to refine the crude oil that we use. So to be able to use cobalt as an argument around, EVs are not good. First, smartwatches use lithium ion, cars do, our laptops. Even nowadays, modern petrol cars, a lot of them use lithium ion based 12 to 16 volt batteries to start the cars and run things in 12 volts as a reserve. It's just not it's not a good argument. And I get it, guys. I get some of the detractors because I was there. But I'm telling you guys, it is the future. Do I see an opportunity where we can explore maybe some high output synthetic fuels? Yeah, maybe. Do I still enjoy the hum and the noise and anti-lag and flame capabilities of internal combustion? I do. But guys, I can't shake a stick at the performance of these cars that I'm surrounded by. It's just really fast. And yeah, I get it for street-frame cars, they're quiet because they lots of sound deadening. But for performance EVs, especially the ones I drive and build, they sound awesome. They really do, you know? So let's see, going down here. I love you guys and the work you get done. Thank you, OG Laura. Appreciate the kind words indeed. Thank you so much. Fast is one thing, visceral is another. I like the sound, says Rollins Kitchens. Rollins Kitchens, you have no idea, I hear you. I really do. But, and a big BUT, Bisimoto built ones. I can't talk for other people, but the ones that I've built myself, that I experienced, there is a nice sound there that's different, but not bad. Just like you would have a nitro aspirated NA setup in a petrol car versus turbocharged versus supercharged, right? Or even a bone stock car. They all have different sounds. The same thing with my performance EVs. It sounds like a supercharger. So if you like a supercharger sound, that's how it sounds like. And here's the crazy thing. I've said this many times, Rollins Kitchens, in my interaction with many of you. Call me crazy. You may have to drive it to experience it because that's the only way I can get people to understand. You feel better connected to the tarmac in one of our performance EVs than I do with any petrol car. For some other reason, the gasoline engine, because of the sounds that it makes, alienates you from the tarmac. That sound you hear, you don't get that tire feedback, which is amplified with my performance EVs. The brake feedback is not as amplified. Just hearing pebbles hitting the undercarriage suspension, the feedback is amazing. It's just, we can enjoy all, and I do. But if I had a choice between a screaming V8 and the visceral supercharged sound of a Bisimoto based EV, I'll go to Latte than the former. And I've experienced it all. I built them all. I'm just telling you, my preference is that. And it's, guys, it is intoxicating, you know? I was just hanging out with your friend, Daniel Simon. Oh my God, what a great guy. Very talented individual. Has done so many things in his life. I look forward to what amazing designer, amazing. Thank you, Stuart Sensor. And if you're still there with him, please send my warm greetings to him. Do you hire co-op students? Send some insights to sales@bisimoto.com. We always do. Let's see here. All right. Hello, Bisimoto, says DZ2K. I just purchased a turbo kit for my exercise. I want you to tune it. DZ2K, we are slammed right after SEMA. We have an event, which I don't know if I can talk about that event we have coming up soon. At an airport north of us, which is pretty exciting. Then there's PRI, then there's the LA Auto Show, and then there's CES. I'm kind of slammed onto the first quarter. So if you're able to wait DZ2K until early next year, maybe I can help you out, by all means. Especially if it's an off-road vehicle. Good morning, Sleeper versus Flash. Thank you so much for joining this amazing Tech Tuesday. And for those of you just joining, I am here in a cool facility. I am here at Unplugged Performance. And these guys, they are experts in everything Tesla. Experts. And that's why we have come up with this great opportunity to work together to build a really cool drag car, which is fantastic, with more products to come. And unbeknownst to me at the time when I interacted with them, and you may not know, I'm here in their garage. They do have an installation facility. So not only could you purchase components from them for your Model S, X, Y. You also, and Model 3 of course, you also have the opportunity to have those components installed, whether you're local or you ship your car here. And just to show you guys something, I'm gonna turn this a little bit around for you guys to see. That is a police car. They're working on emergency services and protective services and getting the opportunities to explore for fire departments, police departments, in really getting their technology up to par and allowing them to take care of us and serve us even better with technology at their side. So just a great place. I'm very proud to be a partner with them, and I look forward to many more things to come with our combinations and in similar fashion as well. Rollins Kitchen says, BC, you're awesome. I'm older than you and you have taught me so much. Thank you so much. But you know, that's what the world is about. I have an opportunity to learn even from my son who's only 5, and I'm glad to be of service here. But if you're ever in the opportunity, Rollins Kitchens, to drive one of my performance EVs, I guarantee you it'll change your mind. I tend to tell this story from time to time about the guys from Speed Hunters who came from the UK to just shoot the K3V, and they're like, oh, we were sent down here to shoot this thing, we don't even care about it. And I'm like, just drive it. Just drive it. Mark, Scene Media, his name here on Instagram, drive the car. He drove it like, what the heck? You sit in it, it smells like an old Porsche, feels like an old Porsche until you touch the pedal, and it's like unlike any air-cooled setup he's ever driven. It is magical. And that's what I'm trying to convey. I'm sorry, I know that words cannot do it justice. You guys should just save up and have me build you all performance classic cars that are EV based so you can see what I'm talking about. But it is unlike anything I've ever experienced. And guys, I've built it all. 1,000 horsepower minivans, front wheel drive, all-wheel drive wagons, rear-wheel drive Porsches, all-wheel drive Porsches. I've built cars that make 200 horsepower. I've built cars that make 4 digits. I've built 1,000 horsepower Hyundai. I've done all kind of crazy stuff, right? I have never seen such amazing performance as we can see with electric motors. Maybe hybrids would be a good way to combine the two if you really need that loud sound. But guys, I don't need it, especially in California. Man, try driving to Irvine with something loud. You can have even a bone stock Veloster N and they'll pull you over and send you to the state ref. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so why not benefit, you know? Jesse said, scared of new stuff I don't fully understand and don't have experience with. You know, Jesse, you're right. Yeah, I'm weird. I'm crazy. I'm not afraid of the unknown. I welcome it. But you know what? Us embracing it has the opportunity to open our minds. And we have companies like Unplugged, where it's their job to design, test, figure out, and just provide the opportunity for you to enjoy it. It makes life easy for us. And when it comes to drag racing, I'm going to combine my efforts with theirs, and we'll come up with even better things. So don't be afraid. Enjoy the fruits of our labor. Pick one up, Jesse. Get a Performance Model 3. Get a Plaid. Get something really fun. Put some parts on it. I guarantee you will flip. It is so amazing, and you don't have to worry about emissions. If you have solar at home, you don't have to worry about touching a pump. I haven't touched a fuel pump, like a gas pump, in like a month and a half. And the only time I did was when I had to pump fuel into my diesel truck because I had to swap out. Yeah, it was annoying. I had to swap out my fuel pump. It kind of broke on me, and I had to tow something and took all day swapping out a fuel pump, and I had to fill it up with diesel again. My hands smell. Anyway, I digress. But it's really fun stuff. Really fun stuff indeed. My brother, Alan Sullivan, 267, greetings. Thank you for the thumbs up. Appreciate you indeed. I need to get a bunch of Pure as I finally relocate to a place where I can play with cars. Sleeper vs. Flash, cool. I'm working them. Give us a call. I think you should have quite a bit in stock. Or, I have a better idea for you, Sleeper vs. Flash. And for all of you, my family, all around the world, write to them here on Instagram. Hit them up on Instagram. For those in YouTube, you can do the same thing. This extends to you as well. Let them know, they're gonna be mad at me. Let them know I sent you and that I promised that you give them a sponsorship. Say, BC said you give me a sponsorship. And what they'll do, they'll ask you a few questions and they'll help you out. They're great. I love those guys. They're really good guys. Fellow engineers couldn't find an oil that really satisfied their needs out in the market, came up with their own formulations, and it's ridiculous. On my Insight that I talked about before, I gained 12 wheel horsepower on switching over from another performance lubricant. So hit them up, Sleeper vs. Flash, here on Instagram. Let them know I sent you, and I said that they will sponsor you, okay? And let me know what they say, okay? Hope all is well. My Odyssey is faster than yours, Roman. Tell them. I'm glad to hear that, Roman. That's what we want. I hope if you build a Performance Odyssey minivan today, that'll be faster than what I built in 2013. It better be. We're here to be better, right, Roman? So I only make 1029 to the wheels on the Odyssey. If you had an opportunity to clip that and go faster or make it lighter and be better, because I have all this leather interior and AC and all that creature comforts, power steering, I'm proud of you. Make it happen. Go faster. That's the goal. That's what we want, indeed. EPA is too strong. It's our fault. Sleeper versus Flash is totally our fault because we don't get involved with politics. We don't get involved in decision making. We allow people who were music and communication majors, not that there's anything wrong with that, but we allow them to dictate our opportunities in terms of what is better for our community. You and I, Sleeper versus Flash, should get involved in politics. We should be the mayors, the congressmen and congresswomen. We should be the ones so that when it comes time to make decisions, we give them educated decisions where everybody wins. The performance industry wins. Like my friends here, they win, right? You guys win because you get to customize your cars elegantly and have a lot of fun and not kill hot rodding. Then environment wins because we're not doing shady stuff to try and bypass certain laws. And our future wins because we're having the opportunity to eat our cake and have it too, where we enjoy our vehicles, we enjoy our automotive creations, and we still keep our environment clean. Isn't that what we want? Oh, don't get me on my soapbox. I will not stop, you know? To move away from the RPM Max, registered in Montana, F California, says Ron's Kitchens. It's Montana, California. You know what's funny? The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, is I would say it's a national agency. It's not just California. Diesel Brothers, the guys from Evans Tuning back east, they were in California. They got busted. They got fined. The other guys from Colorado or Utah, their name escapes me. They're not in California. It's a problem for us. And SEMA's helping, but they need our support. It really is, you know? Jesse says, do you see EVs being able to compete with pro mods in the quarter mile? Can you talk about what kind of mods you can even do to an EV besides weight reduction and adding motors? Yes, Jesse, I'll be more than happy to do that for you. Let me try something here. My app kind of messed up there. So to answer the first part of the question, yes, I do see EVs being able to compete in drivers with pro mods, even top fuel. Bear in mind that where we are today with EVs, as advanced as we are, is probably where we were with petrol cars in the 1920s. Petrol, even though EVs were in the advent of the early stages of automotive culture, petrol cars have had a 100-year head start compared to EVs. So as time progresses, as materials become a lot more elegant, as we have battery technology continue to advance, we'll be able to more and more have power-dense energy cells that can allow us to really dissipate power into electric motors or take advantage of electric motors even further. And to answer your question on the second part of what mods you can do, there's so many. You know about all those EVs that I build, many of them using Tesla drive units? Using controllers like an AEM VCU 200 or 300 allows us to tune cars that are EV based just like you would tune a petrol car. So, you know in petrol cars how you have the ability on a natural aspirated setup to lean or richen up the mixture, play with ignition timing or cam control. On a boosted setup, you have the ability to play around with boost control and to tune accordingly so you don't blow things up. We have the same opportunity with electric motors to play around with torque management. So you can, which I did many times, my first base map that I had for my electric Porsches, I was snapping axles left and right. You can play around and tune torque management the same way you would tune boost control with EVs. You can play around with so many things. You can play around with voltages and how things are being, you can play around with pulse of your batteries and how you are able to grab energy from the batteries and dissipate to electric motors as well using your inverter. There's so many things you can do to tune it. When it comes to factory Tesla like this, that's where it gets kind of tricky because these Teslas still have to talk to the mothership. You have to have all these updates, and just like Apple, Tesla doesn't look very favorably on you hacking into their control systems. But if you have something that's full standalone, you have the ability to tune and get more power. For example, the drive units that we tune up to, large older drive units that we get 600 plus horsepower out of, they only make 470 stock. So imagine a world where per drive unit we can extract 200 more horsepower from them and associated torque. Can we get a plaid that can go from 1,000 horsepower to 12, 13, 1400 horsepower? Very possible. So yes, to answer your question, Jesse, on YouTube, you can tune those cars using vehicle control units or ECUs, just like you would with petrol-based engines. Hope that helps. All right. Yes. How do you say it? Aleph Halkal says, nice workshop. Yes, it's a beautiful facility. I guess everyone was at lunch, but it's a beautiful facility here. I'm in the city of Hawthorne at a wonderful place known as Unplugged Performance. They have another building where they do all the sales and support and shipping, but this is their installation facility. And I have my plot up there with some nice goodies I'd like to be able to share with you right now. But if you want to see it firsthand, next week, SEMA at the convention center, come out and you'll see how beautiful this Bisimoto plaid, as I fondly refer to as Bisimoto Jet, looks. And I think you'll really, raise some eyebrows. It should be pretty nice, It just sounds like a very expensive entry right now, says Jesse. Do you mean, Jesse, give me some insight on YouTube. Entry in terms of tuning or entry in terms of buying an EV? Because I've picked up Model 3s for a little over 20,000. Model 3s are really cost effective right now. And with the performance unit, you can run 12 stock, right? Which is pretty cool. A lot more to go. So are you talking about tuning? Let me know and I can provide you some more insight by all means. Just kidding, says Roman. Okay, I hear you. But great question nonetheless. Appreciate you. I will always have a V8. Rollins Kitchens, I'll always have a flat 6. I hear you. I'm not telling you to abandon your passion for anything internal combustion. I'm just saying I've seen the light. I was right there with you a short half a decade ago, 5 years ago. If someone came, I wouldn't even set foot in here 5 years ago. I didn't want anything to do with Tesla or Unplugged or anything of that nature, but I experienced it firsthand. I can't look back. Guys, I've been bitten by the bug. I can't look back. I'm sorry. I mean, this thing ran, before I even did the mods that I've done in the past week, that thing ran 6 flat in the 8th mile. Stock on street tires. How fast, what kind of car do I need to build for that price to run those kind of times on petrol and still be legal? I don't know. It's really cool, guys. It's really cool indeed, Sleeper vs. Flash 6, something funny. He says, science proves that we're fart in the wind. Most real cars that I've tuned have better tuning than factory. And the thing is that OEMs do leave a lot on the table. You're absolutely correct. And for many reasons. From an engineering perspective, you always want to over-engineer something. And my rule of thumb is to throttle back 30%. So manufacturers do that. Some companies like Honda want you as an enthusiast to modify their setups elegantly and make it your own. Other companies like maybe Toyota or even Tesla leave some on the table. So with just something as simple as an update can give you a little bit more. I remember the time when the Model S P100D had a certain performance threshold, and then Porsche came out with the Taycan Turbo S, eclipsed it, and with an over-the-air update, the 100Ds became faster. Just like that. I mean, how cool is that where you can get a flash from the home office and become faster within seconds? It's just so cool. I love it indeed, The vehicle and tuning, says Jesse. Well, I'll share with you. The vehicle is akin to what you would see from any performance setup. So let's say, for example, a Model 3 I mentioned. You can find Model 3s used, $25,000, a really clean one for $30,000. I can also find an S2000 for the same price, right? When it comes to the VCU itself, an AM Infinity, when we had them available for tuning, was like $1,485. Guess how much the VC200 was? About $1,400, same price. So it's on par, it really is. The difference that I've seen as a builder has been in battery technology. The batteries are a lot more expensive, even though it's starting to come down in price. But when you start thinking about the cost of fuel systems, pumps, braided lines, all the other accoutrements to make a very high performance setup, it gets expensive. Let's talk big numbers. A Model S Plaid, like what's on the list here, and there's another one right there. There's a 2021 there, I have a 2022 here. You can find used for $80,000, $90,000, new ones for $120,000. Those cars run 9493 stock in a quarter mile with full interior, AC, street tires, all that fun stuff. How much do you think it'll cost to build a petrol car to run low nines on street tires and still be street legal? How much? Is there any commercially available vehicle from a manufacturer that can do that off the gate and still be street legal? And if it is, it'll be more expensive than that. So guys, Jesse, to answer your question, from a financial perspective, the EVs still check a lot of boxes. And it's something that I found very appealing indeed, you know? I can build a 7-second Civic for a lot less, says Jesse. 7-second series Civic for $90,000, then I need to hire you. If you can build a 7-second Civic for $90,000, because I built all motor cars, I know how much it costs. I know how much a sequential gearbox costs. I know how much clutches cost and axles cost. I know how much wheels cost. I know how much the pistons, rods, dry sump systems, and when you do all that, you can't drive it on the street, Jesse. He said you can build a Civic with Go 9s for quite less right now, but it won't be street legal. You can't drive to church like I did the other day with this, or take my mom to the airport in my 9-second Civic. It's just gonna happen. Street legality, and it won't be on street tires either, would it? It'll be on slicks. So let's compare apples to apples here in terms of cost versus opportunity. And once again, because of technology, not that I'm saying that it's the best thing in the world, even though I think it is, from a technology perspective and cost, it is quite superior. You change the oil on them cars, FG2, you can. As a matter of fact, you may not know this obviously because of your question, but the transaxles in these, because it has a very unique setup, which is electric motor, transaxle, and inverter in one. The transaxles use ATF, automatic transmission fluid, Dextron 6 to be exact. So that being said, yeah, you do change oil on these things. Luckily for us, that red one right there is getting the, how should I say, the high value treatment is going with coilovers, because the factories come with airbags from factory, believe it or not. So it's going with some Olin coilovers, which is a very nice setup based upon Unplugged's performance, their experience with track builds. There's a combination of Olin's and their technology for coilovers for that. It has a air brake system, I would say air ducting cooling system, which is all carbon fiber, which can be blocked off very nicely, very elegantly with carbon fiber, and has a magnetic block off. And when you go to track, you just take it off and it gives you nice cooling to your brakes. It's an upgraded brake kit as well, which is very, very attractive on this. Allows you to stop on a dime. Has Unplugged performance sway bars and their camber and towing kit, which is very lightweight, made of full billet. So that thing is really set up for nice track duty, but it's still extremely streetable as well. So that being said, yeah, not only can you get oil set up on these, but that thing is getting nice opportunities to make it even better as a street and track monster. Big Elmer, hello uncle, how are you? Good seeing you indeed. Thank you for joining. Take my 996 Turbo and make it special, says Fat Hijad. How do I say that? Fat Hijad. Well, 996 Turbo, I've talked about this quite a bit when it comes to Porsches, is my favorite cost-effective supercar. Super underrated. And I like to compare it to the NA1 or NA2 NSXs. To get an NSX to make 600 wheel horsepower, you gotta build that V6. You gotta build that C series by all means, right? But you can take a petrol 996 twin turbo with its very potent all-wheel drive setup, upgrade the clutch, upgrade the turbo, flash it or go to a standalone, and you'll make 600 horsepower reliably all day. Super fun, very reliable, very robust, and super underrated. I'm telling you, if you're in the market for a cost-effective supercar, you cannot go bad with a 996 twin turbo. Oh, and then add some CSF radiators, yeah, and intercoolers to that. Win-win. So, I'm telling you, if you need help with that, I can't do anything till next quarter, but nonetheless, it is a good setup that you have there, sir. I appreciate it indeed. Bisimoto on deck, what's up? What's your thoughts on boosting a VQ25? I think there's awesome. I like the VQ engines. I like the V6 architecture. I like the ability to have, it sounds really good when done. When it comes to V6s, you may find it shocking My favorite is the Lambda engine from Hyundai though. I like it better than the VQ. I like it better than the J series. That thing is robust. 6-bolt mains from factory. I don't know what, the ports flow like crazy. The crank pickup is 60-2, so you have great resolution. It's a win-win. But you know what? I like boosting VQs. They're awesome. They're awesome indeed, you know? Just gotta swap a K20, says Jesse. Jesse, you're funny. But nonetheless, guys, it's been a slice of heaven. I'll be heading out very soon with the Bisimoto Plaid back to Ontario to get ready for SEMA. And if you guys are in the area next week, please come by. If you're not, I promise, as normal fashion, I will do a walk around at SEMA and a Tech2sday out there. But in the meantime, guys, stay safe. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll leave this indefinitely on both platforms of Instagram and YouTube as well. And for those of you on Instagram, please join me. Follow the Bisimoto YouTube page, smash the subscribe button. And by all means, you know, and follow my friends at Unplugged too. By all means, I'll see you next week, Tuesday. So thank you once again, guys, from Unplugged for being such great hosts and for helping me with my vehicles. I look forward to bringing some great technology to light with their assistance and your support as well. Take care, everyone. Have a pleasant afternoon. Cheers. Bye-bye.